Hey guys, how you doing? This is JP Saricolia. Welcome again to another episode of Age of Heroes, my podcast. Good morning here in the U.S. Good afternoon, good evening in other parts of the world. And today I want to discuss something that it really struck me, and I thought about it last night. I thank you first of all for all that take the time to listen to this podcast. It really means a lot to me. Particularly when you leave your comments through my YouTube channel, it really means a lot. I share my thoughts every morning, and that's what I'm doing with this podcast. I really have fun with it. It really talk about the things that I do care about and the things that really matter to me. And it's good that I have this conversation. Sometimes it's no more about creating content. A lot of times as a YouTuber, as a person that creates a lot of content for YouTube, it's more about you speaking to the mic and doing things, creating videos. And a lot of what I do here in this podcast is that, speaking to the mic, speaking my mind. But also my desire is to establish communication with people, being able to discuss some subjects that perhaps are not as mainstream, but there are more things that, on a daily basis that we think about. And I think we all think about different subjects on a day in, day out basis. Every day we have different ideas. And I want to bring those to the light, those things that really probably people are not hyping as much or talking about much, but they are very important and very real. And we normally think about those things. And that's what I want to talk about today. Last night, of course, if you have seen, you saw my video, reaction of the new Hellboy movie. I was not really satisfied with the film. But after the film ended, after that, I created the video and I posted the video. Then, last night I was thinking about it. I was considering my what I said and the things that I said. And I said, why is it that we overhype things? Why is it that we constantly have to see things, or we expect a lot from some things, and when things don't pan out or work out the way we want them, then we get disappointed. And disappointment is part of life. We all get disappointed. And sometimes the problem with it is that we expect much. We really expect a lot of things. And when things don't work the way we want them, then of course we simply just throw the towel and we just give up. And one of those things is in movies. I love movies. Who doesn't love movies? When you go back to and look at, pretty much the history of the world, modern history, humans, we as humans, we are in love with anything that has to do with graphic arts. We love graphic arts. We love anything that has to do with visuals. Visual arts are some of the most powerful things in the world. We as humans, we are very visual. We love, paintings. We love magazines. We love photos. We love, anything that has to do with visual arts. We love television. We love movies. And an image can speak louder than words. An image can always speak louder than words. And images are powerful. Photographs are powerful. Movies are powerful. That's the reason why Hollywood is so powerful. That's the reason why Hollywood, constantly is producing, and it's a machine that produces so many movies. It's unbelievable the amount of movies they produce. Every year they produce more and more and more and more. Nowadays, we get bunch of movies every week. It's just unreal. The number of movies that are just, hitting the theaters every week. It's just amazing, the number of movies. And why so? Because the reason why they're doing it is because they're popular. Because we love to go to the movies. We love to watch movies. We love, to watch them on Blu-ray, on DVD. We love to rewatch them hundreds, thousands of times. We just keep doing it. We love streaming. We love visuals. We love those movies. And we keep watching them and watching them. And that's how this franchise has become so powerful. That's why Star Wars is so powerful. That's what all Hollywood franchises are powerful. That is what the Marvel Cinematic Universe or the DC Cinematic Universe, all those universes are powerful, and they have a lot of fans. And we put millions and millions, if not saying billions of dollars in their pockets of these companies because, we love the art and they know it. And that's the reason why we get, so many trailers, every week. It's just so unbelievable. Every movie before it comes out, you have like 3, 4, 5 trailers and everybody's hyping because of those trailers until the movie hits. And sometimes, the movie is great and sometimes the movie is not so great, but we are just expecting a lot because of those trailers. Now, what I'm trying to say on this podcast today, I want to bring that to the attention. Are we overhyping these movies to the point that we are just setting ourselves for disappointment? This is the part where I feel that we found ourselves in a position of disappointment because we put ourselves in that situation, because we expect too much, because we want too much. Now, when I was watching the trailer last night, I saw that there are a lot of things that I like and there are a lot of things that I dislike. And it was more about the trailer that I dislike and that reality, what is inside the trailer. And I was analyzing this last night. So even when I took the dog out, normally I take him at night. So, we take him three times a day, but I took him at night and, I was just thinking about it, on the way out. I was just thinking about it, that really, sometimes we're very, very, we expect a lot, we want a lot. But I think part of this is not our fault. I think it's the studio's fault because they have trained us to do this. And, for the longest I've seen that, there's a lot of trailers nowadays, back in the day, and I was thinking about when I was a kid, some of the greatest movies, that I love, some of my favorite movies of all times, they didn't have any trailers, but trailers is more like a new phenomenon. There's always been trailers for movies, but there was never trailers prior to the movies. There were trailers in the movies, like when you go there and there's the trailers before the movie, but there were never trailers like you have places they were shown on television or other places. There was no such thing until, of course, modern times changed things now with the internet, with YouTube, with all, Twitter, with all these Facebook places, with all these different media platforms where now people go and they pretty much live on a daily basis. We live on social media. We pretty much interact there on a daily basis. So nowadays it's a place where, you see all these trailers, and you get bombarded by trailers and, we expect a lot, we want to see more. And sometimes some of these trailers, they give so much information about a film that it's just, it's not even fun, because technically you already watched the movie before going to the movie by just watching these trailers. And sometimes this is a studio doesn't manage those trailers well to the point that you still want to have some, some suspense. You still want to know, you don't want the entire script of the movie being given to you. You just want something that is just, just a teaser that is just, really inviting you to go to the movies. And when you go back to watch those movies, growing up, I remember that many of those movies, I never watched a trailer before the movie. I just went, back in the day when there was a summer blockbuster, or any movie, you just show up to the movie theater, not expecting much, not knowing exactly what would happen and, what to expect. But then, of course, you got swept, away by these great films, some of these great movies. I remember like that happened to me with, Ghostbusters, it's like I got swept away, oh my, it was such an amazing film. I didn't know much about it. Some of those films were amazing, like I remember the first time I went to watch Toy Story, the first Toy Story at the movie theater, everybody announced it and I went, I went in the line. Back in the day where people have to kind of stay in the line, there were long lines to go to the movie theater and the movie was amazing. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, what to expect. I loved it. I went there with my parents and we just loved it. I loved it. It was just amazing. I remember when I went to watch, Dance with Wolves, and, I don't know. It was a great movie and I didn't know much about it. And every single movie I remember as a kid, the Gremlins, every single movie, you just show up and, you don't know what to expect, but you just are swept away by these great movies. And some movies were not so great, but some of these movies were amazing and you didn't have to see much before you get to that place. So the problem nowadays is that the trailers are showing so much and the trailers are dictating the way people like these movies or not. And sometimes the trailer cannot really not be the exact, or cannot be reflective. That's the word. Cannot be reflective of what the movie you're going to watch. And a trailer can break or make a movie. And that's the problem, and a lot of people are disappointed. It's okay to be disappointed. I was disappointed with the trailer last night, but in my mind I'm thinking, is that the real movie? Because a lot of people are, and I saw that on the news, I saw that on the media, a lot of people say, well, that this is bad, I'm not gonna watch it, I'm not gonna support it. Now everybody's praising the previous movie, the Del Toro's movie and Perlman, which in my opinion they're great, they were phenomenal. I love those films. But like a week ago, people were saying that those were the worst representation of Hellboy. And now this week, they're saying that this is the worst representation of Hellboy, but they haven't even watched the film. Those things are really the situations that really doesn't determine exactly the quality of something or the quality of a film. And that's the biggest part where we have to be extremely, extremely, extremely careful about the things that we say and the things that we do in social media that are not as great. And that's the biggest part that we have to watch out, And I think that's the biggest situation right now, the biggest problem. And I see that, and I've seen that more and more and more over the years. I've seen this situation happening more and more. That I see that through the forums which I participate. I see people really mentioning that they're just cutting trailers. They just feel that the trailers are given too much information. The trailers are too disappointing, and they just want to go to the movies. And for a time, I just didn't care much about what they say. I didn't pay attention to what they were saying. But now more and more, I'm feeling that they're doing something right. I feel that that's the right approach. And I now understand why they're doing it, because, we go back, to previous generations. Maybe the younger generation, they need to see something before they do it, because that's how they've been wired. That's how they brought up in this new culture that we live today. But going back to the years when I grew up, back in the 80s, back in the 90s, it was a different time. So the generation then didn't expect much. You didn't have high hopes. You were not just going into a movie just expecting it to be this, and that, or fulfill what you wanted. I think that today's society is more selfish in that way. We were not as selfish, and sometimes, you win and you had a good time, and it was all about going. It was all about the experience of going to the movie theater rather than just, putting a list of things that I want for this film to fulfill for me. And I think that's the problem, is that a lot of times we make this list of what I want, and we want to check these boxes, mental boxes, and they say, well, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this. If you don't do that, you're not good to me. And I feel that that's a selfish approach. When I look back on those trailers, and I was looking at some of those old trailers, like Ghostbusters trailer, the first Ghostbusters, the second Ghostbusters trailer, they're so cheesy. When you look at trailers in the 80s and 90s that only appeared prior to the film, and they were not anywhere else to be found, and now, of course, you see them on the DVD collections. They have it sometimes as an add-on as an extra feature. You look at those, and they're extremely, extremely cheesy. Cheesy. Very, very cheesy. But the movies were so great. So a trailer cannot really tell you exactly what a movie is all about. Yeah, a trailer can paint a picture of it, but doesn't mean that it's going to tell you exactly how the movie is going to evolve, the quality of the film. And if you really judge a movie based on a trailer, then you have a problem. You're expecting too much, or you just don't understand the concept of surprise. To me, it's all about surprise. Who doesn't love gifts? Who doesn't love to open a box? I want that. Yes, a trailer can be deceiving, the same way a badly wrapped gift can be. But what is important is not the wrapping or the packaging. What's important is what's inside. And you have to do that. If you always go in life just going by that, or by the hype that everybody else says, because this is the thing. Now people are saying that this is really, really, really bad. So what's happening is that a lot of people are not going to show up in the movie theater, just going by the hype of others. You're going by the opinion of others. And what's going to happen is that the movie is not going to make it in the end financially, because, we base our opinion on someone else's opinion. And we have to be careful when we do that. Now, I'm not saying that the trailer was good. I'm not saying even that it was trash. I'm just saying that the trailer was not that great. That does not mean that the movie is going to be trash, or that doesn't mean that the movie is going to be not great. There are a couple of things that need to be fixed. I feel that there's a few things there that I pointed out, and you can watch my video in regards to that they need to address so the movie can be better. However, that does not mean that the movie is heading for disaster. I feel that, we just have to wait and see. It's just the first trailer. There's a long time between here and April. There's a couple of months. It's going to be other trailers. We'll see how they do. Maybe they fix some of those things. And there were good things in the film. Some of the things were great, but of course, like a lot of people are pointing out, the CGI looks bad. Everything looks bad. The color looks bad. And I'm like, I don't understand I don't know what you're watching, And normally when I read these comments, I probably come from somebody that just was born yesterday or someone that is just like 20 years old. I'm not a spring chicken, I come from a different generation, a generation that saw the Muppets, and pretty much in theaters when they have to represent something, they have to use some Muppets, to do it. They have to do, use these dolls to do, any type of special effects. And people say, oh, those are the greatest things. And in my mind, I'm thinking, probably you were seeing things wrong. Maybe your eyes are different than I. Not all that was great. It was good for the time. It was great, but not all that's great. I'm a big supporter of CGI. I think CGI has replaced a lot of things. It's been bad CGI. It's been good CGI, but I think CGI has moved the movies in a place where, fantasy, it's kind of interacting with reality. And you know what? That's good. There are things that back in the day, they couldn't be done. You were as a kid dreaming that someone would be able to do it. Now you can see it, and now people complain, and now nobody's happy. And I'm not going to discuss about CGI here because that's not the theme here. But it's all about the trailers and how overhyped they are and how damaging that overhyping is. Is the overhype real? Is the overhype necessary? In my mind, I'm thinking a trailer might be bad. That doesn't mean that the movie will be. And if that's the case, by all means, just keep sending trailers, but don't pay too much attention to them. And just allow yourself to be surprised by the moment, Just go enjoy the film. And sometimes some of the greatest films, have the worst trailers in the world. And that's true. And sometimes some great trailers, some amazing trailers have some of the most lacking, most poor, made movies in the world as well. So one doesn't determine the other. And you have to always keep that in mind, always keep an open mind and just enjoy it. There are things that you're not going to like. Nobody can change your mind. And I say this always, love what you love, like what you like. But always keep in mind, always keep an open mind, because you never know that something that you might think is not good enough for you might be something in the end that you really enjoy. And you know what? I've been in that place before. Going to movies that I was not expecting much. And I was thinking I'm going to hate this. And I went with a critical mind. And this movie's really changed my mind because the experience was great. And I've been going to movies with all the desire to love them. I wanted to love them. And when I got there, I realized that, I just overhyped myself. That the hate was deserved, that the movie didn't deserve that good rating. It didn't deserve, that my support because it was poorly made. So always think about those things. So, don't let this hype society, this society of, like this on today and hate it tomorrow, determine the way you do things, particularly in movies, just enjoy the ride, like great movies coming up and just go as a kid. Like when you were a kid, remember those days when you go to the movie theaters back in the day? Just go to them and just enjoy them for what they are. And if they're not good, just be okay with it. It's just a movie. It's just entertainment. It's not going to kill you. It's not going to make you or break you. It's not going to make life better. It's not going to solve the problems of the world, but it's just going to give you a good time. So once again, thanks for listening to this podcast. I really appreciate your time. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you're doing it on here on YouTube. Follow me on the different social media platforms. The links are below. And also listen to the podcast. You can follow, the podcast, download the podcast to the different apps. And please consider supporting this channel and my podcast through my Patreon account. So God bless you. Have a great day.